Hi, welcome to another video by PAAC. This is the last episode of the Guide to the Night Sky for this season. And in this video, we'll take you across the night sky and show you the various stars and constellations visible for the month of November. If you're listening on Spotify, be sure to download the sky map from the PAAC website and use it as you listen to this podcast on Spotify. And don't forget to like this podcast on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and please make sure you like this video so that your friends would be recommended this video and they also discover the joy that's astronomy. Starting from December, we have explained the various stars and constellations visible for every single month, and this month, almost all the stars and constellations have been described before, either in the previous month or in the very beginning episodes. However, we will still take you across the night sky and show you the various stars and constellations, and let's see what lies in the skies this month. Let's face towards the north, and in the north, you know where Polaris is. Depending on your location, the altitude of Polaris varies. Above Polaris, you've got the 5 stars forming the house shape in the Cepheus constellation. This is the Yudhishthira Nakshatra Punja. Above Cepheus, you've got a constellation called Lacerta, but very faint stars in this region, so it's very hard to notice. We'll slowly move towards the northwest, and you may find the quadrilateral of Hercules, that is the 4 stars forming the torso of Hercules, very, very close to the northwestern horizon. Depending on your longitude, Hercules might have even set in the western horizon. In that case, you will find the bright star Vega close to the northwestern horizon. Once you've located Vega in the constellation of Lyra, you can also spot the Cygnus constellation with the bright star Deneb above Lyra. Cygnus the Swan is flying towards the western horizon with the star Deneb at its tail, with the wings spread across the sky. Towards the west of Cygnus, you've got the bright star Altair shining in the constellation of Aquila. Together, Altair along with Vega and Deneb forms the summer triangle, which has been explained several times in detail in the previous episodes. So the summer triangle is finally approaching the northwestern horizon and is setting. In between Aquila and Cygnus, you might spot the constellation of Aquilus, Delphinus, Sagitta and Vulpecula, but these are very, very, very faint constellations, so you would require a very clear night sky for you to make any observations. Slowly moving towards the southwest, we have got the Sagittarius constellation, and depending on your longitude, the bright stars of Sagittarius will have already set. However, above Sagittarius, you've got the constellation of Capricorn, and this month, for this year especially, it's very easy to spot Capricorn because the bright planets Jupiter and Saturn are slowly rising in this constellation. At this time, above Capricorn, you've got the constellation of Aquarius, and above it, you've got the constellation of Pisces, but none of these constellations are made up of any bright stars, so it's hard to spot them. Slowly moving towards the south, in the south of southwest, you've got the bright star Fomalhaut shining from a distance of 25 light years in the constellation of Pisces Austrinus. This was one of the first bright stars we have discussed in this series, and below Pisces Austrinus, you've got the constellation of Grus. The flamingo formed by Grus can be made out in dark and clear skies. Below Grus, you've got the constellation of Indus and Tucana, and above it, you've got the constellation of Sculptor and Phoenix, but these are all very faint constellations and spotting them would be very hard. Towards the southeast, very close to the horizon, you've got the star Achernar shining from a distance of 139 light years, and Achernar was also a star we've discussed in detail in one of our earliest episodes, that is in December and January. Achernar, which is known as the Vaitarani Mukha, forming the Vaitarani constellation, that is Eridanus, is slowly rising from the southeastern horizon, and the river is quite large but again faint to spot. Above Eridanus, you've got the Cetus constellation in the southeast, And above Cetus, you've got the Pisces constellation. So the river, the whale, and the fishes are all very hard to spot because none of them are made up of bright stars. But what we can spot are the bright shining constellations in the eastern direction. Exactly near the eastern horizon, depending upon your longitude and time zone, the Orion constellation might slowly be rising. But what you can be sure of is the bright star shining just above the eastern horizon, forming an A shape with the stars in the nearby region, that is the Taurus constellation, with the bright star Aldebaran shining from 66 light years away. In the same direction above Aldebaran, above the A shape formed by the face of Taurus, you've got the seven sisters, that is the Pleiades star cluster. Some of these stars are shining from a distance of about 400 light years, and you can make out 7 different stars with the naked eye, and through a telescope there are more stars in this region. If you look towards the zenith in the eastern direction, above the star cluster Pleiades, you've got the 2 stars, that is Hummel and Sheraton, which are the 2 bright stars of the Aries constellation. Another star, 41 Erie, lies further behind towards the eastern horizon, and these 3 bright stars make up the Aries constellation. Further higher, at the zenith from the eastern side, you've got the constellation of Andromeda, but we'll come to that in a while as we discuss the constellations at zenith. As we move towards the north from the east, in the northeast direction, you've got the bright star Capella shining very close to the horizon. Depending again on your longitude and your time zone, there are 5 other stars forming the 6-starred constellation of Auriga. What you can see, irrespective of your location right now, is the constellation of Perseus lying just above Auriga in the northeast direction. We usually say that Perseus can be made out using the bright stars forming a nu or a Y shape in the sky. However, this month, as Perseus has just risen from the horizon, the Y shape is horizontally rotated by 90 degrees. You can make out the new shape easily from the stars in this region, and Perseus can be also identified with the 2 bright stars Alpha Persei, that is Mirfak, and Beta Persei, that's Algol, which are lying right above Capella. We'll come back to Algol in a while, as this is the primary topic for this edition of this guide to the night sky. And for now, we'll slowly move towards the north and notice Cassiopeia is right there next to Perseus in the northeast direction. Cassiopeia, as I've mentioned earlier, has reached a high spot in the night sky, and the shape of M can be easily made out this month. And using the second triangle in the M shape, we can always identify Polaris. Since the Big Dipper has set, Cassiopeia is high up in the evening skies this month, and that is always a marker to spot Polaris. Now, what we've missed so far is the giant constellation of Pegasus shining brightly from the zenith. If you look at zenith from any direction, you will find 4 stars forming a square. Although not a perfect square, we call this the Great Square of Pegasus, and using this we can always spot the constellation of Andromeda. Once you've noticed the Great Square of Pegasus at zenith, face towards the north, and then when you make out the square, the star pointing towards the southeast among the 4 squares of Pegasus is the star Gamma Pegasi, or the Poornaprajna nakshatra. The star pointing towards the northeast, which is below Poornaprajna, is the Uttarabhadra nakshatra, or we call the star Alpheratz or Alpha Andromedae. Using the Great Square of Pegasus and the star Alpheratz, you can trace out 3 more stars slowly from the vertex in the northeast, and these 3 stars form a tail to this kite formed by the Great Square of Pegasus. The tail of this kite is pointing towards the northeast, and when you trace out the tail of this kite using the 3 stars, when you approach the second star, move slightly towards the north, and between the Cassiopeia and this star, you will find the Andromeda Galaxy. Andromeda Galaxy has been discussed in the previous videos, and we all know now that this is the farthest object the naked eye can see at 2.5 million light years away. The Andromeda Galaxy is named after the constellation in which it lies, that is the Andromeda constellation. The tail of the kite that I just mentioned are the stars of Andromeda. So, we have scanned across the night sky and showed you the various stars and constellations visible for November. There is one another concept that we would like to discuss this month. Face towards the northeast and you will find the bright star Capella close to the horizon, as we've already mentioned, and above Capella, I've told you, is the constellation of Perseus. The two bright stars that you see in Perseus are the stars Alpha and Beta Persei, and the fainter of the two, which is Beta Persei, which is lying at a higher altitude right now, is the star Algol. Algol is a very interesting star, and we've discussed about this star in our first video, and back then we just described how it looks. However, all astronomers must make note of this, that Algol is not a single star. When we've discussed the Big Dipper, that is the Saptarishi Mandala, we've mentioned that the star Mizar appears to be a single star to the naked eye. However, if you got the sharpest of vision, your eye can resolve Mizar into two stars, one the bright Mizar and a very faint Alcor lying very close to it. We've also mentioned that in ancient times this was used as a test for your eyesight. However, most of the stars that we see in the night sky are like Mizar and Alcor. That means that they are not a single star. Although Mizar and Alcor are double stars and can be resolved easily with our naked eye, many of these stars appear to be one. However, when we look at them using powerful telescopes at observatories, we'll find they are more than one stars. The star Polaris, the Dhruva Nakshatra shining in the north, we've mentioned in all our videos, is in fact a group of 3 stars. The star Alpha Centauri was also a group of 2 stars. But we mention Algol because the star Algol, being special, has been mentioned across cultures from ancient times. The star Algol earns its name from Resh Algol, which is Arabic for the eye of the monster. In Greek mythology, Perseus killed Medusa and is imagined to be holding the head of Medusa in this constellation, and the star Algol is the eye of Medusa. Across cultures, Perseus is famous for Algol, and this is because Algol is made up of 3 stars, of which 2 stars are binary stars. Binary stars are 2 stars orbiting one point in space. When the plane of orbit passes through our line of vision, we see that one star may be eclipsed by the other. When one of these 2 stars is brighter and the other star comes in between us and the brighter star, we see that there is a dimming effect. That is, the intensity of the light observed in this star will vary from time to time, since orbits are also periodic. In case of Algol, these 2 stars orbit with a period of 2.8 days. That is, when you observe Algol, you will notice that the star will appear to be dimming once every 2.8 days and will appear to be dim for a few hours before it starts to brighten up again. This whole process of brightening and dimming is happening because the fainter of the 2 stars is eclipsing the brighter star. Although in case of Algol, these are 2 stars, what if one of the 2 objects was a planet? Yes, this is one of the methods how we observe exoplanets. Exoplanets are basically planets that are orbiting various stars outside our solar system. And one of the methods used to detect exoplanets is the same phenomena that we observe in Algol. In case of Algol, we've got 2 stars. However, if an exoplanet is orbiting another star, when the planet comes in between the star and the measuring instrument, we will observe a dimming in intensity, and using the duration of this dimming and other spectroscopic techniques, we can identify if the star has an exoplanet that has conditions that are favorable to life. Every star has a habitable region in which the exoplanet needs to be in for life to exist. In fact, we found many exoplanets that are Jupiter-like, Neptune-like, and hard rocky planets that may be Earth-like, in which there may exist oceans or mountains or atmosphere like Earth. Using spectroscopy, we can find out the various elements present in the star's atmosphere. However, if the planet is like Earth, may not be confirmed unless we reach there. The closest star that we have discussed is Proxima Centauri, which is not visible to the naked eye, and close to Alpha Centauri, both of which lie very close to 4 light years away. In fact, Proxima Centauri has an exoplanet known as Proxima Centauri b. All the other stars are light years away from us, and with these great distance to cover, it might not be possible right now for us to accomplish this journey in one lifetime. Coming back to observing exoplanets, not all stars may show a dimming effect. However, due to Earth's atmosphere causing the twinkling effect, we cannot observe all the stars and make deductions about exoplanets. For this specific purpose, Capella was a space probe launched to observe various stars and find exoplanets around them. The Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, or TESS, has now succeeded Capella in the same mission, which is constantly on the lookout for stars and transiting exoplanets which cause a dimming in their intensity. With the help of these space probes, we have discovered over 4,000 exoplanets, of which over 1,000 planets are Earth-like. So, not only have we explored the various stars and constellations visible for this month and all the months previous to this, we've also explored various galaxies in the previous episode, and in this episode, we've explored various planets in our galaxy. With this, we are at the end of our final episode for this season of the Guide to the Night Sky. We hope you find these episodes useful in spotting the constellations and stars visible for all the months from January to December, and be sure to be on the lookout for the next season of the Guide to the Night Sky. Until then, we hope you find the night sky to be clear, beautiful, and free from light pollution. This is Atul signing off for the entire season of the Guide to the Night Sky. Clear skies.